Warning, the following content may contain spoilers for film and television programs. It is also intended for mature audiences. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Fuck is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 38 of the See It podcast, your number one stop for all things film and television news, facts, and opinions. I am one of your hosts, Andrew Ormsby, joined as always by the heartwarming and lovely Shelby Ammerman.
Hey!
The beard of the Baratheon, Zach Chadwick.
Hi.
The king of the doldrums, Brian Vaughn.
Whatever.
And the professor himself, James Ackerman.
Greetings and salutations.
Today is a very special podcast. It is all about DC Universe, films and television, as well as animated series. All right, how is everybody doing today? You guys see anything good? Shelby, did you see anything over the past few weeks?
I feel like I did, but I'd really have to think about it because I've been running around for a while and stressed my phone and homework.
It's been a couple weeks since we've done a podcast, so there's a bunch of movies I wanted to see, and I saw very few of them. Brian?
I watched What We Do in the Shadows. It was really funny.
That was a really funny movie.
I really enjoyed it.
I only saw the first half of Chef, and it was just meh.
You don't like Chef?
No, it was okay.
I
got to the part where they go to Florida.
That movie, I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but that is not a movie you should watch on an empty stomach, because you will be dying of hunger by the end of that movie.
I'm starving right now.
I'm that way with any movie. I like to eat during any movie or TV show except for The Walking Dead, because that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Why is that disgusting?
I can't eat during it.
Why not?
I think it's, I like to eat humans, and it just hits too close to home.
I'm not a huge Walking Dead person, but the show's really good this season.
Yeah,
surprisingly good.
I'm not a huge guy. I mean, but it's a show I watch, so.
I wonder if you eat bacon while you watch Walking Dead, if that says something about your psyche.
There was...
I would assume it does.
This is sort of a spoiler, but for people who watch it, there's the cannibals right now in The Walking Dead.
Right.
Well, there was...
they're past that.
Okay, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The cannibals, the main guy, I don't remember what his name was in the show, but after the first episode aired that you found out they were cannibals, he went to Instagram and he posted pictures of him eating a bunch of steaks at a restaurant, and all it said at the bottom was "too soon?" ? Which I thought was...
Also, that guy was really good, actually.
Yeah, he was.
He should be used by someone for something.
Yeah. All right.
I don't like The Walking Dead. I don't know you guys.
I wanted to tell you, last night I watched Citizen 4, the Snowden documentary.
Was it awesome?
How was that?
It was really good.
Really, really want to watch it.
I didn't know really what it was going to be like, and then after watching, I'm like, this is actually before they actually filmed him leaking the information and stuff. I thought it was going to be like a documentary afterwards, like, this is how I did this is how I did that. No, this is like live, him hiding in the hotel room with the newscasters and stuff saying, here's all the information, here I'm giving it to you, here's me. And then it shows him like sneaking out of the hotel, like getting into a car to the UN. They filmed all that, and now like all these like a couple of years later, now they're just releasing all the footage and stuff. It was a really good documentary. I really liked it.
I need to watch it.
All right, now that we got all the bullshit out of the way, let's get right into it. DC Universe. The Professor James Ackerman is our specialist when it comes to DC stuff, because a bunch of us don't know jack shit about it. But a bunch of our listeners said we did a Marvel one, we have to do a DC one. So, let's start off with talking about movies. The first movie came out in 1951. It was Superman and the Mole Men, which is...
Sounds like a grade A movie.
No one has seen this, right?
No. I've seen...
I really wish I had.
I've seen The Adventures of Superman. I've seen a few episodes of that. That was George Reeves, and then they made this live-action movie. Sort of like, Adam West and Burt Ward had the Batman series.
Right.
And then they made the Batman movie. This is sort of pretty much the same thing. Black and white, George Reeves, no relation to Christopher Reeve. It's spelled differently, just for those of you who are wondering.
Hollywood is really into remaking everything since there's no more original ideas out there.
Fuck, don't get me
started. So if we're going to remake something, let's remake Superman and the Mole Men.
Oh, yeah.
Out there.
Complete agreement.
Let's
Nicolas Cage as Superman.
Yes.
He was going to be Superman.
No, Nicolas Cage should be King of the Mole Men.
Also fine.
Yeah.
So he plays two roles like in Face Off.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
He needs to pull an Eddie Murphy and play every single character.
I can't even wrap my brain around the thought of
Did I tell you guys
this.
about this T-shirt that I saw that I really want?
Is it a Nick
It's a
Cage.
picture of Nicolas Cage's face, like with a dumb look, and it just says John Travolta.
I need it right now. That's a
Did you
great
guys-
face-off trailer.
Do you know John Travolta is super bald? And his hair obviously looks pretty fake, but he definitely does wear a wig. I didn't know that until
I didn't
like
know
2 days
that.
ago.
What about in Greece? Did he still have his hair then?
I would assume so.
It's
Grease
probably-
is a heartwarming love story.
It really is.
But so does John Cryer from 2.5 Men. He's super bald, and in the show, if you watch it, they actually use like powder to make his hair look real, but it's powder.
That show is
And
terrible.
In Two and a
Yeah,
Half
I've
Men
never
with
been
John
able to get
Cryer.
into
After
at all.
Charlie Sheen left, anyway. Just terrible.
It makes me wonder how many popular TV and movie stars are actually super bald.
Patrick Stewart, I bet he is.
Oh,
Patrick
yeah.
Stewart's awesome.
That guy's definitely not wearing a wig.
Did you see the interview he did on Conan about how he had never had pizza until he was like 50?
I did actually see that.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was great.
Oh, fun fact about this Superman. You know, he's from Metropolis and stuff like that. They actually, it is Metropolis for Superman, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. For this Superman and the Mole Men, Metropolis was not in the movie. It wasn't part of the movie.
What's up with DC's just generic city names? Metropolis, Central City for the Flash. The only one that has a cool name is Gotham.
Yeah, that is really something interesting because if you look at Marvel, they use real cities like New York and Los Angeles and stuff like that, but DC, they use alternate.
That could just be because Stan Lee's lazy.
But think
I mean,
about
that's possible.
Think about the implications of how popular DC is, though, on pop culture, because now a lot of artists and famous people call New York City Gotham City, which is interesting.
That's the only one that I see, though. Because Batman's awesome. But other than that,
There's also a link to Metropolis in Chicago that I've heard mentioned.
I don't know.
I don't know
I don't
why.
They
follow it
film
that
a lot
much.
of the movies for Superman. Like, Man of Steel was filmed in Chicago. It takes place in Chicago, which they do
I
call
think it was
Metropolis.
mainly filmed in IHOP.
That's also true.
From what
I
I
wanna see-
remember.
Man of Steel, half of that movie took place in an IHOP.
I just want to see Ben Affleck fight Henry Cavill. That'll be awesome.
You know,
Although I don't know how they're going to make it work.
Ben Affleck
since
would be
he
an amazing
since
Batman.
since fucking Henry Cavill was like a
villainous
god.
chin.
Hey, Ben Affleck is a treasure. All right.
I love Ben
He has a
Affleck.
villainous chin. They said it in Gone Girl.
I-
That's
I-
all you see when he's Batman.
That's
was
because
sold.
he's
Just
a
that
douche in
dimpled
that
chin.
movie.
Yeah, the villainous chin. He's gonna have to go through this through the whole movie.
But Batman is an anti-hero, so
Yeah.
he needs to have a little bit of a villainous look to bring out the scary side of him.
Okay,
I
James,
guess.
I want you to be the tiebreaker on this because this is actually something Zach and I have been arguing about for years.
Are you talking about Gotham?
No,
Oh
no, Gotham is just about you.
no, it's
No,
not.
no. Here's the question: Is Batman a superhero?
Oh god damn it!
Is Batman a superhero? My answer is yes, and here's
Thank
why.
you.
Damn it.
He
Hold on.
is a
Here-
fucking superhero.
Here's why. First off, you cannot be in the Justice League if you're not a superhero. And also what he represents, he saves people at the end of the day. That's a superhero.
He routinely
Saves the world.
beats the shit out of people who are in themselves considered super. He beat Superman in a fight. He kicked his ass.
Oh, okay.
Also, I think
Oh, okay. Now the
It's-
tables
hey,
have turned
this is
here.
the biggest argument in the
It's
DC
canon, man.
Boy universe.
Green Arrow made him an arrow with a kryptonite tip. He used it in a fight. Fight won. That's all I'm
There's a lot
saying.
of different arguments about Superman versus Batman, but in the real world, I'm sorry, Superman is going to destroy Batman.
in the real world, Batman would exist though, and Superman wouldn't.
That's true.
Batman's real. No.
Oh, but the main reason why Batman is a superhero is because, and this is typically what people argue, it's that he has the code of he will not kill someone.
Yeah.
And that is what keeps him in this superhero discussion, because he will not kill anyone.
You know, in Man of
What time
Steel,
is it?
that
It's-
whole code absolutely like ruins an entire city. Like the whole
then he
city's
ends up
being
killing
destroyed,
him.
and he's like,
All right.
"Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do."
Saturday,
We'll do it.
Saturday, January 24th, 12:42. Zach was proven right.
Okay, so wait, does Superman have the same code? Will Superman kill people, or has he?
Only Michael Shannon.
I know he killed Zod.
There's a lot of story arcs where they talk about Superman. It's like his main thing. He doesn't kill people, but in one story arc, he killed Lex Luthor because he killed Lois Lane, and then he kind of turned evil. But then in Man of Steel, some people that panned it really hard as far as critics go, it's because he killed Zod,
Yeah.
and Superman doesn't kill people. So a lot of fanboys are pretty upset about that.
So, do you consider Tony Stark a
Don't burp in the
superhero
mic, bro.
/ Iron Man?
That's the same situation as Batman.
See?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I got the same
But-
argument with people that Iron Man's not really a superhero. He's just a dude with money.
Oh, okay.
Iron Man
You can't say that
says
Iron Man's
full
not a
of himself.
superhero, and then you say Batman is.
Batman.
No,
and
I agree.
are
Iron Man is a
basically
superhero.
the
I'm
same
just
person.
talking to you.
Oh, okay.
There are people who say he's not.
Yeah.
Although in all the Batman movies that I've seen, he totally kills two people.
Who?
He killed Harvey Dent. Killed Harvey Dent.
No, he
Two
did
of
not kill
Batman's.
Harvey Dent. The Joker killed Harvey Dent.
Not in the two movies that I saw.
Are you talking
the-
about Dark Knight?
Dark Knight, and also he does kill him because Harvey Dent has the gun pointed at the little boy, and so he tackles him and sends him flying over the edge, and he dies. And then in the older movies with Michael Keaton, he flips the coin. Harvey Dent goes to reach for the coin and falls over the edge and dies.
Well, that's
Harvey Dent's dumbass fault.
Yeah.
A.
Batman. Batman
And B,
did it.
you have to. If Batman has to save people, so it's the little boy or Harvey Dent. I mean, my God.
Still killed people.
No, he didn't
Still
kill him.
killed
It's
But
Harvey
he never
Dent's dumbass
directly
fault.
kills anyone.
Yeah.
He even says it in the
Harvey Dent's just an
in
idiot.
Batman Begins. He says, "I don't have to save you. I won't kill you, but I won't have to
Save you either."
And that's why Batman is like on the borderline. Is he a superhero?
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he'll let you die if he doesn't like you.
That's like in the Walking Dead video game in episode 3. You have a choice of leaving this lady on the side of a road or taking her with you. And if you leave her, she's probably going to die, but I didn't kill her. She just died on her own.
Right. I mean, yeah. Gray area.
The
Ridiculous.
all right, let's go over to 1954. Stamp Day for Superman. This was actually a film created by the Department of Treasury,
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm in.
listing the importance of U.S. stamps, and then Lois Lane gets kidnapped.
This
So he has to
amazing.
save her while at the same time promoting Stamp Day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think of this.
I wonder if in this film, whoever kidnapped Lois Lane was like the archenemy of the United States government in 1954.
Oh,
So
please
he
tell
was-
me! Please tell me it's like Joseph Stalin.
Yeah,
That would be
Stalin-
awesome.
Oh, Stalin's holding Lois Lane ransom,
Exactly.
and he only will accept collectible stamps for Arbor Day because he knows they'll hold their value so well.
And then when Superman shows up to save her, he's with Uncle Sam, like an incarnation of
Oh
Uncle Sam.
man, that would be
That'd
the
be sick.
best.
All right, so at the same time as soon as the Superman TV series ended in 1958, the Batman TV series got picked up in 1966 with Adam West and Burt Ward, and that ran for 3 seasons. I grew up
It's
watching
classic.
the Bam
Yeah, I've
Zow.
seen those.
Na 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 na. Everybody and their mother had that theme song stuck in their head.
Hey, without that show, we wouldn't have Mayor West on Family Guy.
It's very true.
I only know the Spider Pig one, but that's
Spider
Spider-Man,
Pig,
yeah.
Spider Man.
But I think it was in Foster's Home for Imaginary Kids that they do the da na 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 na. But I never knew that. It was
Okay,
connected to
so
Batman.
since we brushed over, I know this is DC, but I have to ask the question. I have been told repeatedly by several people that Spider-Man is the biggest pussy superhero in superhero land. So, opinions?
Well, I hate him.
Why?
He is my least favorite Marvel superhero.
He's not my favorite, but I don't think he's a pussy.
Okay, well, here's the thing. He's a photographer that ejaculates from his hands. That
Yeah.
I'm good.
That's
actually.
fine. All right, I mean, whatever. I just don't think he is.
Yeah.
If I were to pick a superhero to be, it would probably be Spider-Man. I'm with you, Zach.
I don't want to be Spider-Man.
wanna
If
be
I was going to be
Spider-Man.
somebody,
I
I'd be
wanna be
like,
Spider-Woman.
I'd be the ladies' man, like Gambit or something. But
Well,
No,
Spider-Man's
I
a
wanna do
ladies'
the-
man, though. I mean, come on.
that's true.
He lands
I
some
can't
pretty hot
argue with
chicks.
that. I
He gets a
can't argue
redhead
with that at
and a
all.
blonde.
Yes.
I can't argue with that logic.
Yeah.
I would totally just be Superman because of the not dying.
If that's the case, I'll be Wolverine.
Did you,
Yeah.
you know, one of the things that people talk a lot about with DC versus Marvel is they've never really done any crossovers. But there actually was one crossover done at one point in time. I want to say it was back in the 60s where they had Superman versus Spider-Man. And in the comics, they actually had to soup up Spider-Man's powers so he could contend with Superman. It was completely unrealistic. I mean, come on, Spider-Man versus
That
Superman.
sounds awesome.
Please.
Well, that's like as realistic as Spider-Man versus the Hulk. The Hulk would smash him into tiny bits.
Yeah.
Truth.
All right. So after the Adam West and Burt Ward TV series went on in 1966, as soon as the Batman series was about to end, they came out with Batman the movie. And the big scene that everybody remembers from that is Batman running down the pier holding the giant bomb cannon thing with the fuse
I
that
thought
was
you were going to
lit.
say bong.
No, not the giant bong. That was a totally
It
different
was the
movie.
60s, so.
Yeah, and he kept trying to like throw it in different places so when it exploded it wouldn't hurt anybody, but he'd run over and there'd be a mom in a stroller, and then he'd run over and there'd be... I remember there being ducks. He didn't want to blow up a bunch of ducks that were just like floating in like off the pier. He's like, oh no, I can't throw it there. He finally...
Hey, Batman cares about the environment.
All right, the next movie up is actually the Christopher Reeve Superman. They couldn't get George Reeves because he was murdered / suicide.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen Hollywoodland?
I was just about to say Hollywoodland.
Yep.
It's actually a really good movie with Ben Affleck, who was Superman in that movie, sort of. He was George Reeves.
He was George Reeves, yeah.
That's actually one of Hollywood's biggest mysteries. Was George Reeves murdered or did he commit suicide? A lot of people don't know who killed Superman. But then we get Chris Reeve, who is probably my favorite Superman. I don't know what you guys
I
think.
hate his
That
acting.
is terrible. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't seen any of them, so I don't know.
I haven't seen any of those, but I don't like Christopher Reeve's acting in like Somewhere in Time, I think is what it's called.
Well,
I
he's
just don't care
dead
his
now. You
acting.
don't have to worry about that. So
Yeah, I know that.
That's too soon, bro.
too soon. It was like 6 years ago. What's the time limit on too soon to talk about that?
Well, I thought the first 2 Superman movies were good.
yeah,
I liked them.
I remember Marlon Brando was in the first one.
Yeah, he was.
You know who was in the fourth one? Or third one? Richard Pryor was
No,
the
we
bad
were talking
guy.
about that before we...
I love
Yeah.
Richard Pryor. Hear no evil, see no evil.
And
Jo-
Gene Hackman.
Yeah, and in the fourth one, John Cryer was also in as
What?
Lex Luthor's nephew.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's
He
so
breaks
good.
him out of prison.
I've seen Superman 1 and 2, which was
There is a
1978,
Superman 4?
1980.
It was actually when I was a kid, it was my favorite, which is ironic because it was the one that was the most panned by critics.
the Quest for Peace.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he fought this dude named Nuclear Man, and Nuclear Man had fingernails that were radioactive, and he scratched Superman and almost killed him.
I don't know how anybody can look at this movie and not think it's awesome. John Cryer's in this movie?
He is.
Oh, man.
the
need to
first
see
Superman
it.
movie actually won an Oscar for, I think, special effects or something like that. Which is really bad looking at it nowadays.
Isn't that the one where
Yeah.
he traps Zod in
In
the
a
glass?
square.
That's number 2.
That's
Uh,
too,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the second one, because they come into the Daily Planet
Yeah,
and just start messing it up.
I know
You know,
that from Family Guy. Most of my DC knowledge comes from Family Guy.
we got to talk about the idea, though, that with current superhero movies, they at least try to employ realistic scientific knowledge. I mean, in the original Superman, to go back in time, he literally flies the Earth around an opposite orbit.
Oh, to go back
make
in
the Earth
time.
Go backwards.
That
and
sounds,
somehow it
that
goes
sounds
back in time.
legitimate. I
Well,
don't know why
there-
you would think that's weird.
There is this thing where if you travel against the Earth's orbit, you do time will slow down for you. That is a proven scientific fact, but it's not to the extreme at what
Right.
Superman. You'll lose.
That kind of goes along.
You'll go back in time maybe a second or
That
something.
kind
like
of goes along with my theory that the in the Flash TV show that the Flash there's a Flash from the future because he can run so fast he can run backwards in time.
Oh my god, I love the Flash TV show.
Isn't it so good?
I feel like an 8-year-old schoolgirl when I watch it.
Oh man,
It is
it's
amazing.
awesome.
And the idea behind the Flash going back in time
Me too, I've
is that he taps into something called the Speed Force, which is
Yeah.
actually makes him the most powerful superhero,
Well,
literally more powerful than Superman.
That dude who's the head of the science group, who
Dr. Wells?
is looking at the paper from the future.
Right.
It has to be him from the future.
Well, actually, there are 2 different Flashes from the future that are his arch nemesis. There's Professor Zoom, who is
First off,
who they think is
haha.
Dr. Wells, and then there's
Professor
Reverse
Zoom.
Flash, which is the guy who in the current Flash show is Iris's boyfriend, the cop,
Yeah, the cop.
partner.
He's
those are
the Flash?
He's
No,
the
he's-
Reverse Flash
he's Reverse
from the
Flash.
future. That's what's going to happen. He's the Reverse Flash from the future,
Yeah.
who comes back because
And kills his mom.
Well, theoretically, it might even be Dr.
So
Wells who
wait,
killed Barry's mom.
my mind's exploding right now. I can't wrap around it.
It's
Stop,
an
stop,
amazing
just
storyline.
stop.
Okay, here's what I thought though. The professor guy that the Flash is working for right now, that everybody thinks is the bad guy, I thought that he was. Is it the Mimic or something? He just mimics other superheroes. So
That's an interesting.
because I thought that's what he was, and he was mimicking
What?
Professor Zoom,
So hold on a second. Her boyfriend,
the cop, the blonde cop guy. He's Reverse Flash.
he's secretly a superhero.
In the future, he
No,
will
no,
be.
he's a super villain.
He's a super villain.
He is Flash's arch
Okay,
nemesis
so
in the
he
future.
didn't like come back in time.
Well,
No.
we don't know.
His current incarnation in the show, if I am to predict this correctly,
Fucking time travel.
which is awesome. Time travel is amazing, and I love it. And the fact that Flash
Timey
is
wimey,
doing it-
wibbly wobbly. We need
I
Doctor Who
Can't
to
even
explain
get
this
on.
to us.
My mind can't even wrap around it.
I did know that. I knew that's one of the few DC things I did know, that her boyfriend is either Reverse Flash or Professor Zoom.
which is
So is Dr. Wells Professor Zoom?
well.
Don't
but
know who he
The
is.
thing is, Professor Zoom, although was a villain, he actually wanted the Flash to be a better person. Like he actually,
And that's Professor
which is
what's
Dr.
his
Wells.
face?
He kills people to protect them in the show, so people think he's Professor Zoom, and they think that the Reverse Flash is actually Iris'
God
boyfriend
damn
from
it.
the future.
I can't even think about it.
Because
That's why he
her
didn't attack him
boyfriend.
in the episode when they came back in time. And
Because I think his name's Eddard Thane.
Edward Thawne.
Yeah,
That's-
Edward Thawne.
Okay.
And and her boyfriend is Eddie Thawne. So
Dr. Wells in the show's awesome.
he is pretty
He's
great.
super creepy, but I can't
When he stood up, I was like, "What?"
stop talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
it because I don't want to be spoiled.
Tom Cavanaugh is the guy who plays Dr. Wells, and he's great. I remember him on Scrubs as
It's
JD's brother. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so after Superman 3, which was, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, that was one with the supercomputer.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The one they ripped off for Office Space, that they mentioned that. They're like, oh, it's just like the plan from Superman 3.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
Great movie.
I haven't seen it. I lost
Office Space or Superman 3?
No, Superman 3.
Okay.
They did a How Did This Get Made on Superman 3, and I listened to that. That's as much as my Superman 3 experience goes.
So a couple of TV shows came out between the time of the next DC movies. We had Shazam and Wonder Woman.
Linda Carter.
Linda Carter, yeah.
The Rock's going to be Shazam.
The Rock is actually going to be the arch nemesis of Shazam, which is Black Adam.
Oh.
Shazam
Oh.
hasn't been casted yet.
Okay.
Yeah, Black Adam was Shazam before Shazam, and then he let the power go to his head, and he decides that he wants to take over the Earth. So then the guy who gave Shazam his powers, the wizard Shazam, banished him. So he comes back, and then there's a new Shazam, and they fight. So Captain Atom is like an evil version of the Rock. Rock's playing the evil version of Shazam.
So to be clear, we're talking about Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yes.
Just getting that in there.
Yes,
Not the Nick Cage, Sean Connery
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
All right.
awesome movie.
It is a great movie. It's
No
one
one
of the
banishes anyone anymore. Just another thought.
Oh, they do that to
Because how do you enforce that?
Baron.
But it
is
sounds awesome as hell.
Like
I banish
Napoleon.
you.
Napoleon.
Is it
got
Baron
banished
Zemo?
to an
Is that
island.
his name? The bad guy in Doctor Strange. They banish him a couple times. Who's possibly going to be played by Chiwetel Ejiofor in the movie?
All right, so when we get to 1984, we get Supergirl. Kara Zor-El, Supergirl, who's Helen Slater.
Wait, is Supergirl like Superman's daughter?
Cousin.
Cousin?
Cousin, yeah. It's a very.
So not everyone
ridiculous-
died on
And that movie
The
is
planet
really not that
Krypton.
great. Yeah.
No, like everyone lived, as it turned out.
Oh, really?
So many of them just keep cropping
That's like
back
the
up.
That's like the storyline in Doctor Who where Gallifrey gets destroyed, and then later on you figured out it's just in a different place.
Whoa, spoiler. I haven't seen all of Doctor Who.
Never seen an
I haven't
episode.
seen any.
It's actually not that bad.
Everyone,
I won't remember it by the time whatever you just said. I won't remember it by the time
Yeah.
I get.
I only watch it because my wife's super into it, and I think the new guy's pretty good.
Well, you're a good husband. Listen to you.
I know. I am such a good husband.
All right. In 1988, we get the first version of Smallville in a TV show called Superboy, which was a look at Superman during his teenage years.
Who was Superman?
That was played by Gerard Christopher.
Okay.
Played-
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was kind of a one and done actor.
Yeah.
Yeah. After that, we get Swamp Thing, the series.
All of this was in a time before superhero movies were cool, and it like resurrected careers. Now it resurrects careers and puts you on a path to uber superstardom.
Yeah. Then we had Swamp Thing, the movie, Swamp Thing, the TV series. After that, we had Swamp Thing Returns. Can't believe it. That's not
Was
one of
Swamp
the greatest
Thing a
movies.
good guy?
Absolutely. He
I
was,
don't remember.
and no one knows
I've never
he's
seen
a DC hero.
I just
I thought he was-
I just thought it was a bad movie
I
in
thought
the
he
80s.
was Marvel.
Oh, I loved it when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, no, DC. And what's cool is like there's a story arc where like been this whole rewriting of the DC universe recently. It's called the New 52.
Yeah.
And there's a new Justice League Dark, and Swamp Thing is one of the Justice League members along with like Constantine, who is a DC superhero by the way.
That
I didn't know
sounds
DC, but I knew
badass.
Constantine
It
was
is,
DC.
and they're all evil superheroes.
Oh,
It's
go ahead.
amazing.
I was just gonna say, I thought Constantine was just like a movie, just like I didn't know.
No,
he
it's
was
a comic.
superhero.
They also have a series similar to Constantine called Preacher, but this guy's like a drunkard and
Seth Rogen's new TV show. Yeah.
oh, Preacher, yeah. It's
Preacher,
going to be
yeah.
on AMC.
Frankenstein is also one of them.
What?
It's kind of like
Frankenstein is a DC
Marvel's
DC
getting ready to
character.
do a universe reboot in June.
Are you
They're
talking
doing
about
like
not
a new
Mary
52
Shelley's
thing.
Frankenstein, but I'm assuming there's another one?
Well, they make Frankenstein like the same. I would assume it's the same version because it's the same.
That
concept.
actually sounds way cool.
Can
it's
something
has
get out of the
Sandman.
swamp?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Like, if there's
Maybe-
a big fight, do they have to go, well, we will take you down, but we're going to have to do this over here?
Like when you're a kid, you're like,
It's sort of like Aquaman. He has no powers out of
Yeah.
the water.
Aquaman is totally underrated. But no, but when you were a kid, and they were like, "All right, meet me at the street behind Get and Go at 2 o'clock or at 3:30, and we're gonna fight." Is that what they do?
This
in
guy is
we're going to have
awesome.
to do this
Swamp at
in
'Cause he-
Alabama,
Because he
actually.
just made a reference to a gas station that was around when I was a kid. So
That's why I
you're
did that.
cool.
I almost said "Come and Go." I'm like, no, it was Get and Go when I was a kid.
Yeah, it was Get and Go when I was a kid, and there was Phillips 66 and Sinclair.
Sure.
Sinclair had
with
the giant dinosaur.
Yeah.
that was awesome.
They still had Get and Go when I was a kid too.
Did they?
Oh, we're bridging the generation
Oh, like
gaps here.
2010
Is
or
that
something?
is that the line in the sand? Get and Go is where you're too old or too young if you remember Get and Go.
Yep.
So
No, because I'm still a lot younger than all of you guys.
you're 20 right now, right?
Yep.
So
My God, I am so old.
The last, my
Wait, how old
has
are
a
you?
zero at
30.
the end of it, too.
Damn, I'm 30. I'm the oldest person here still.
How old are you?
31.
Nailed it.
you're 20. You're
30. I
You're
just
30.
turned
Okay.
30,
I was gonna
yeah.
say your birthday was last.
God, you
We had
guys
like
are
2 days
old.
apart. I'll be 29.
I'm starving.
I'll be
You want to
21
go
in
to
April.
Bears after this?
Possibly,
Okay,
because my wife's out doing shit.
it's time to derail the podcast.
Has that not already, we not
No,
already
no,
been doing
I'm going
that?
big derailing here.
Oh, I
okay?
like where this is headed.
So speaking of Bears, what is today? Saturday. Okay, Thursday. I have an hour and a half gap between my classes, so I'm like, I'm gonna go to Bears downtown and grab a quick bite to eat because I'm starving. I haven't eaten all day. So I get there. It's the one right next to the OTC campus and
Yeah.
stuff. So I go in there. I'm like, I'm gonna go wash my hands. I go in there. There's a homeless guy in there vomiting all over the sink and the walls and stuff like that. And I'm like, hey, I'm not hungry anymore. But I did end up getting a burger to go.
That,
Did you tell anyone that worked there?
Yeah, I went to the bar. I'm like, hey, I think there's a guy in there. He might need some help. He's getting really sick.
Whenever I worked
And
at the gas station,
I wasn't
had
just
a
gonna
dude
leave
come
him
in
in
all
there.
the time and like throw up and pass out on the tables we had in the gas station.
we had that at the bowling
at the
alley.
bowling alley,
Yeah.
it was pretty bad.
Yeah,
and
one
at the
time-
hospital, but that's expected.
Yeah, exactly.
One time I went to go to the bathroom and someone had shit on the wall.
Ew.
That happened when I
Yes.
worked at Krispy Kreme. So it's like somebody missed, and all the shit was everywhere besides the toilet bowl.
This wasn't even in the stall, though.
There was no
Yeah.
stall in the bathroom at Krispy
I don't know
Kreme.
what they're doing. They're just like, you know what would be funny is if I projectile pooped on the wall.
Yep.
When I worked at McAllister's, there was always poop in the urinal in the boys'
Yeah.
in the men's bathroom.
I'm not gonna lie. When I was like 12 or 13,
It was you?
no, I had to poop really bad, and I was at a Dillon's, and there was somebody in the stalls, so I just hiked the leg and shit in the urinal. That just had to happen.
Oh my gosh.
It had to happen.
You're that guy.
You're the
Hey,
guy.
When you
And
gotta
just
go,
said
you
weren't
gotta
that
go.
guy.
I was at Kmart, and I was like kind of a janitor there at one point, and the worst people to ever clean up after in the bathrooms were old women. They would liquid diarrhea all over the place, on the walls, on
Yeah.
the toilets.
Ew.
It was the
That
weirdest
sounds so
thing.
bad.
That's what you have to look forward to, Shelby.
Yep. You might be young
No,
now,
that
50
is
but one
not
day.
gonna
In
be
50
me.
years, that's going to be
That
you
is not
inside of a
gonna be me.
Kmart if they're still
Nope.
around.
While
Nope.
I'm retired playing D&D, you're going to be
Yeah.
in a Kmart, diarrhea everywhere.
It's all that
Congrats.
hard candy and like moon pies or whatever they.
By the time I'm old, almost none of you guys will be around.
All the
Hard candy and moon pies.
That's so
By the
great.
time I'm
terrible
old
diet.
enough to be doing that, most of you guys won't even be around anymore.
Oh, I'll
You're
be,
only
really,
10 years
really
young.
old.
We'll
Well,
be 80.
I'll be half cyborg
Hey.
and I'll be around.
Yeah.
Technically, you smoke.
plan on
so
living
I feel
forever.
Like I might have a longer life expectancy.
You might. You
Yeah.
you take better care of yourself.
And I'm already on track to accomplish that, so thank you.
All right, so going back to DC now. In 1990, we get the first show of The Flash. It ran for one season.
I actually
can-
watched this.
I can imagine only how bad
It
that
was awesome.
was.
Yeah.
What is it?
It was cheesy as you could. I mean, it was so cheesy. Mark Hamill was actually one of the villains in the original
Really?
Flash.
He's going to be in the new show too.
He's reprising his role.
Yes.
He was the trickster, and he was crazy cheesy.
I'm all about Mark Hamill.
Did you guys ever see Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Cock knocker.
It was like Cock
Yeah.
Knocker, but an appropriate version
Oh, okay.
for the Flash. It's
No,
kind of
Cock
what it was.
Knocker's
He was
what I'm
that
going to
kind of
call him
cheesy.
now. I'm not going to call him the trickster or hit by Mark Hamill. Cock Knocker is his name.
All right, and in
You need to
19...
quit renaming people.
No,
No,
it's
that was
per-
his character.
It's per-
Chev Chelios.
Think about it. Jason
He
Statham
renames
is not
everybody.
Jason Statham. His name is
Jason
Chev
Statham is Jason
Chelios.
Statham because Jason Statham is who's sexy, not Chub Chelios.
He is,
Back
he
to
is
our
a
original
man crush.
statement
He
about
is
me.
celebrity
beautiful. He's my
hair.
favorite.
Jason Statham
Ah.
is probably bald.
Probably bald.
Yes.
I would
And I'm
put
okay
money
with
that
that.
Jason Statham
But he's
is...
like
And I'm okay with
he's
that.
like the David Beckham, like pulls off that look like ridiculous.
Yeah.
I would marry that man.
Both of them? Or
Not David Beckham,
Probably not.
just my Jason Statham.
I wouldn't go for it.
in,
No, not my
I
type.
would.
in
Yeah.
1989, I think this is when we start getting the titan of DC movies, when the first Batman movie, the Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson movie came out. That was the movie I watched like once a day when I was a kid.
No. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was fine, but I didn't. I remember when I was a kid, every month or every day for an entire year, I watched the Ninja Turtle movies at least once, sometimes twice.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly,
Yes.
I think he was scarier as the Joker in Batman Jack Nicholson than he was in The Shining.
Well, I don't really-
I don't think so.
Scary.
I don't really
I
care
love
The
for
Shining-
Nicholson
The
that
Shining
much.
wasn't scary
Sorry.
at all to me.
No.
That's a
I watched it and I
generational
was like,
thing.
this
That
is
is a very
stupid.
if you were younger and you watched The Shining, it was one of the scariest things ever. But this newer generation, for some reason, they don't think The
I
Shining
don't
is
think
scary.
it's
Every
that
time I watch
good.
I think it's one of the
It's not
scariest
very
movies.
overt.
I
It's
watched
just
it one
psychological.
time.
Yeah.
I watched it one time and I was like, this is stupid.
I
Read
don't-
that book.
Stupid
Someone, if you
movie.
haven't read that book, read that book, and then if that does not weird you out, then
In general,
you're
I think.
soulless.
Well,
Stephen King's messed up.
King has a pretty.
In general, I think
that
horror
has a
movies are
pretty-
terrible anyway.
Those
So.
kind of movies definitely didn't scare me as a kid, but what used to freak me out was like Alice in Wonderland, The Wizard of Oz. Those would
What?
scare the crap out of me when
Like
I
the
was a
flying
kid.
monkeys got you and
Yeah,
stuff.
but like The Shining never freaked me out.
Interesting. All right,
I
after
love those
Batman,
movies.
we get Batman Returns. It was Michael Keaton, Danny
Keaton.
DeVito, and
Christopher Walken.
Christopher
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Walken. Yeah, and Michelle Pfeiffer,
Yeah.
That was actually
who was way better as Catwoman than.
Yes, Michelle Pfeiffer is the best Catwoman. Now, I
Wait,
agree
hold
with
on.
You don't
Better
think
than
Halle
who?
Berry's not?
Halle Berry's
Oh.
joking.
That was sarcasm.
Okay, I was
Better
like,
than
no.
who? You didn't like Anne Hathaway as
I
Oh,
think
she was
Kyle?
terrible.
I,
What?
I thought she was really good.
I
liked
thought she was awesome.
she
I
was.
liked her.
Sarcasm?
No, I'm
Honestly-
serious.
Oh, okay.
honestly,
I thought she was
thought-
okay, but I liked how Michelle Pfeiffer had like the stitched costume.
Yeah.
and
That's
she had-
fine,
I thought
but
that was
Well,
way
I
better.
thought Michelle Pfeiffer was probably the sexiest out of all of them.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
here's the
Part of
deal.
Catwoman
Oh,
Part
yeah.
of my judgment of Catwoman between Michelle Pfeiffer and Anne Hathaway is that I think Anne Hathaway's way hotter
Oh, I do
than
not.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
I do for
That's
sure.
Michelle Pfeiffer is classically beautiful.
No, I do
Well,
not. I do
that's
not.
a guy versus a girl
I do
perspective
not
for sure.
like Michelle Pfeiffer at all.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and be
I
like,
love-
well, her face is more symmetrical. I believe I'd rather bed her.
Well, no, there's a song called.
Have
by
you ever
Vance
seen
Joy.
Have you ever seen a movie called Hollywood Nights? It's made in
No.
1983, 1984, and it took place right as Vietnam War was starting to happen. But it was about all these people in like this drive-in in Beverly Hills, and Michelle Pfeiffer was in it. It had like Tony Danza and a bunch of other people. She's a total bitch in that movie, and I
She's
don't
in
like
Grease
her.
Too.
Yeah, that
And
movie's
there's
terrible.
There's a song by Vance Joy called Riptide. And
Terrible.
he says, I swear she's destined for the screen, the closest thing to Michelle Pfeiffer that you've ever seen.
Not the best.
So it's not just a girl's perspective.
No, I'm sorry. She's
That she's
awful.
beautiful.
Do you know why the original...
I'm not.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm not a big Pfeiffer fan. The fan there is PFAN.
She is
Yeah.
she is the
PF.
trailer park
That's
version
her name.
of Robin Wright. She's the trailer park version of Robin Wright. Robin Wright's way more beautiful than Michelle Pfeiffer.
I don't think Robin Wright is pretty.
Oh my
I don't-
God.
I think she kind of.
Especially in House of Cards.
I would probably let her stomp on me
She
just
just
to.
looks British.
Bombshell,
Yeah.
Michael Keaton and George Clooney are the absolute worst casted actors as Batman.
Oh no!
Michael
I
Keaton's
love
pretty
Wait,
good.
Question as Batman because I
Yes,
think
as Bruce Wayne, they're amazing.
because I was just about to say
But
Michael
as Batman,
Keaton.
they make no sense.
Michael Keaton. That's because I had it backwards because I thought Christian Bale was the best Batman, but I thought Michael Keaton
Yes.
was the best Bruce Wayne.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but if you're Batman, you've got to be able to fight. And have you seen Michael Keaton in those movies?
Yeah.
He is frail. He's
They didn't
small,
have
he
fight
has no
choreographers
training.
back then,
Yeah.
man.
But I'm just saying, but Batman has to be like this dude who does martial arts training. He can fight with the best of them.
He wasn't.
That's
Hey,
not Michael Keaton.
that version of Batman wasn't trained by Liam Neeson, so that was the problem.
Yeah.
That's true.
And in 1995, we
That's the
get
big
Batman
difference.
Forever. All I have to say is, I compare you to a kiss from a rose on the grave.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
that.
Is there anything anybody needs to say? That was the one that had Val Kilmer in it, then.
Yeah, Nicole
Yeah.
Kidman,
Okay.
and I think was that the one
Jim
with
Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones.
yeah.
I loved
Chris O'Donnell as Robin.
Loved,
Yeah.
I hate Chris O'Donnell, but I love.
Everyone hates.
You're so
Chris
weird.
O'Donnell.
I didn't. It's not just him as Robin. I just don't like Chris O'Donnell. But the person Jim Carrey.
As the
I
Riddler?
loved him as Riddler, and I really
I
wish they
don't-
would have done that with the Dark Knight.
I
Chronicles. wish he
I
would've done
personally
that.
think that the best Riddler is the dude they have on Gotham. He's
I haven't
awesome.
seen Gotham though.
It's good.
I've only seen. There's only one Riddler that I've ever seen, and it was Jim Carrey. And I
Andrew,
thought he
what
did
do you
fantastic.
think about that?
Meh.
He doesn't like the TV show because he's not
I
human.
was
Yeah,
giving
no.
an opportunity.
I'm not a big fan of Gotham either.
Thank you.
I watch
Oh.
it just for the sake of watching it.
By the way, you owe me to watch Indiana
No, I
Jones
fucking don't.
because it was the Metascore. I looked it up.
No, we never said the Metascore. We said how we thought. I said
Don't
it's.
we have recorded proof of
We
this?
have recorded proof,
Of
and I went
whatever
back.
the bet was.
Yeah. Oh, what we did is I said that Gotham was going to tank. It wasn't going to be a good show.
and I
that
said it
was
would
gonna
at
have
least
bad
get a
Metascores.
second season,
So
and it would be good.
his bet was he doesn't want to watch the Indiana Jones movies. So I'm like,
What?
that's I know.
No. The bet was I would go see Exodus with you opening night because I
I
knew.
thought it was
No,
that you-
I knew that movie
we'll have
would
to
be
go
a
back
steaming pile of dog shit, and it was.
Wasn't there some bet where Andrew would have to watch a baseball?
That's the
game?
bet
That was
where
the
I would
bet.
have
Is
to
that
watch
the bet?
I would have to watch a full
But
baseball game.
Yeah.
You can't judge it off the Metascore because the Metascore is full of cynical douchebags.
It got
That's-
renewed for a second season.
Did it?
If that means much, but then again, like shows like Two Broke Girls get renewed for like 7.
Hey,
or 8
I
seasons.
think that show's
It's a good
actually kind of
point.
funny.
Exactly. He has terrible taste in TV shows.
Suck a dick.
Two Broke Girls is incredibly funny.
The only thing about that show is Kat Dennings is in
I
it.
can
She's
name a
hot.
bunch of good TV shows: Game of Thrones, Silicon
Amazing.
Valley. Oh, you like Game? This guy's way cool now. The Flash,
Love it.
Gotham, Big Bang Theory.
Yes, please.
There's all kinds of good TV shows. I don't have shit taste. You sound like my dad.
All right, getting back to DC now as we derail it for another time, and there will be many more derailings in the future. Lewis and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman came out in 1993. It ran for 4 seasons. Did anybody watch this show?
I
Loved
saw-
it when
saw
I was
the
a
No.
kid.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Also, they're literally H.G. Wells. The fucking author H.G. Wells was a character that came with a time machine and some guy named Tempest who becomes evil and like steals people's pennies. I don't know.
This
And
is
there's
Lois and Clark?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not
And there's
know that
some
at
guy
all.
named Mike who like randomly appears in scenes in the last season, and there's sparkling music, and then there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on in that show that I feel like the writers seriously were like, I don't know, let's do this dumbass thing.
Carrie Hatcher made me realize that I thought women were super hot. Terry
Yeah,
Hatcher was like
me
one of
too.
the first actresses where I was like, oh.
Terry Hatcher was
Wow.
one of my
I don't
first
know who that is.
crushes.
Not the best.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, definitely Terry Hatcher. But what was the thing about it now is when I watch the intro scene of Lois and Clark, it makes me laugh really fun because it makes me laugh a lot because he stops a bus and it's a handprint, but it makes no sense in terms of like physics. It's just a handprint on the bus, but it would have crushed the front of the bus.
Yeah.
Also, that
So
Perry
I-
White is my favorite ever with his stupid voice, his obsession of Elvis. You know, well, Clark, you're gonna have to cover. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, it reminds me of
Man.
J.K. Simmons as
That's
Yeah.
exactly
Spider-Man.
what I
Lex
was
Luthor
thinking.
trains a snake. I don't know. It was amazingly weird.
1997 was the year that Lewis and Clark ended, and 1997 was a brutal, hard year for DC. because that was also the year that Batman and Robin and Steel came out.
Good night.
Steel, the Shaq movie. Do you remember that?
Shaq, the basketball player,
Yeah.
rapper, and apparently movie star.
And video game.
He's a triple threat.
Shaq Fu.
Oh,
He's
I
a
forgot
triple
about
threat.
Shaq Fu.
He's a triple threat.
man.
What can
He
you
does
say?
it all.
He can rap, he can dance, and he can play
And he can
basketball.
fit in a Buick.
Yeah, he has a custom-made Lamborghini that's long enough for him.
That's crazy.
I want to make your day. They're bringing back Shaq Fu. They're remaking the game
Really?
for
son of a
PS4 and
bitch.
Xbox One.
I used to
Why?
love Shaq Fu.
I played
That's
that game
not a
all
game that
day.
needs
it's
to
a
be
great game.
remade.
I played that and Battletoads like all day long.
Con-
That's a game that needs to be remade.
They are-
Battletoads.
they're remaking
They just
Battletoads,
remade
too.
Resident Evil for Xbox One.
I'm gonna get
I mean,
that.
I really want to play
What
it. I
about
don't like it.
Kazam? Are we
Battletoads
gonna
was
get a-
awesome.
Was it Kazam or no? It was Kazam.
Yeah.
That was the Shaq movie. Okay,
Kazam.
Yeah,
he
where
was,
he was
a
a
genie.
He was the genie. Yeah,
You guys know the whole concept behind Still, though, right? Like, you know what that movie, like, what he was supposed to be portraying?
I couldn't watch the
I
movie.
don't
Even as a kid, I
care.
thought it was pretty bad. So who is Steel?
Well, basically, like, in the 90s, what really propelled comics to, like, becoming more popular again was there was the Death of Superman series. And so after Superman dies, there are all these poser Supermans coming out to protect the world. And one was a guy named Still, and his name was John Henry Irons. And so in this movie, he was supposed to be portraying one of these, basically these guys who were trying to take over Superman's mantle.
I thought what you were going to say is there's a legion of pretenders to Superman's throne, right? And someone has to stop him, and the only way to stop him is by dunking a lot of basketballs. But apparently not.
Or a rap battle. A
rap battle.
That would be the best.
But not by making free throws.
No, he can't do that. There was a really funny Taco Bell commercial back in the 90s where they
I
came out with the
remember-
double-decker taco,
Yeah.
and Shaq was, because he turned his head to eat the double-decker, and ever since then he started shooting his free throws with his head cocked, and he made every single free throw. It was really funny.
That's awesome.
Okay, here's a DC question for you. Was the Death of Superman comic the biggest selling comic book in, like, history?
I don't know about history, but I would definitely say in the 90s it was by far the biggest story arc
It's
of
one of the
DC
best
Comics.
video games on Super Nintendo.
Death of Superman?
Death and Return of Superman.
Huh.
Yeah, it definitely
really good.
redefined it brought comics back into like pop culture relevance, essentially. The sales skyrocketed on comics because they had been in a free fall for several years. And then when the Death of Superman hit, and what happened in the 90s, they started doing that to a bunch of characters. Like Batman had, like, as part of my pop quiz for later, not to spoil anything, but I have a question about that because it was a big part of the 90s comics. They tried to kill off a lot of characters, and
Nice.
yeah.
That seems to be just this, like you said, it's this new arch thing that people are starting to do just to nobody's safe anymore.
Right, but also it's not that nobody's safe, but everyone can come back. That's the only thing bad about the comic book
Yeah,
genre
that's a
nowadays.
double-edged
Is
sword
it-
because
Yeah.
you
Do they
create
come-
a moment of genuine shock and devastation, but then you, in the back of your mind, are like, well,
Spoiler
that just-
alert,
is that just
Superman returns. So
Yeah.
Is that a multiverse thing? Like,
yeah,
Okay.
super multiverse thing. And actually, that's the one big critique of DC by a lot of super fans is that DC has all these different multiverses, and they want to say that they're all part of the same continuity, whereas Marvel doesn't do that. So they have like
Yeah.
one continuity.
Except they're getting ready to fuck everything up, like
That's
with
what
the
I
new
heard.
52 thing.
with the Thor's woman and stuff.
No, Marvel is completely. They're getting ready to come out with a 6-issue series called Battle World, and at the end of that, it's going to completely reset all of their worlds and universes back to square one.
DC did this back in the late 80s. They called it a Crisis on Infinite Earths,
Yeah.
which is the whole plot to the Flash TV show.
Is
FYI.
that why Days of Future Past?
Wait, what?
resets X-Men?
That's cool.
The Crisis of Infinite Earths is the plot for Flash.
Sort of like that, yeah.
The new TV show, the one on. Oh,
That's,
that's
and the
Go ahead.
I was saying in the newspaper when Dr. Wells is looking at the newspaper and it says Flash disappears, Red Cloud lifts. That's Crisis of Infinite Earths storyline in the 80s. That's a comic book, one of the most
That's
popular
cool.
DC arcs. Flash kills himself to save all the multiverses of DC. Flash is the primary hero.
Oh, awesome!
But
And
then
what
he
about
He
X-Men?
comes back later though. Spoiler alert.
Oh, God.
I was saying because of you were saying that Marvel was going to reset.
No, that's
everything.
an old storyline. That they did that storyline back in like 1985. That's an
Okay.
old storyline.
So,
That's
well,
a
'cause
what
they
if.
were
That's a
resetting
what
that,
if
so I was
scenario.
asking-
That's a what if scenario. Like if things continued to where they were going, and then Kitty probably comes back in time and tells everybody, "Hey, this shit's gonna go down on this day. You have to stop it, or the future will happen."
But you said Marvel is resetting thing. They're coming.
Yeah,
out
they're
with
doing their
resetting
whole
everything square
reset
one,
thing,
But I'm saying,
yeah.
is that why X-Men reset everything?
No.
Okay. Never mind.
No, the only reason they reset everything in X-Men is because Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are getting too old to play those characters.
That makes sense.
They're pulling a Danny Glover. They're too old for this shit.
Because in the Marvel universe, Magneto was like hella old because he was around in World War II, and then he comes along, this higher being, god-like figure, and he gives him like eternal youth or his youth back.
Our fans are going to be so pissed that we're talking so much about Marvel and this is supposed
I'm
to be
sorry.
their DC one.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It's good.
I just have.
I had to explain myself.
In 2001, we get the most successful DC television show, and I know James said that this is his favorite, Smallville. And I know, Brian, you said you watched them all as well.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a single episode of Smallville.
It's fun.
Well,
I've
guess
seen
what?
a
I have them all on
few.
DVD.
It gets a
you can
lot
borrow 'em.
better.
All right.
It's very episodic at the beginning, like, what's the problem now for Clark? And then he fixes it, and then next episode, new problem. But that,
Is there
it gets to be
is there
a
an
way
underlying
more fluid.
Is there an underlying like linear story?
There
that goes
is,
on
and
with
that
completely
it gets
linear.
to where that's all it is. Like, and you're not having the episodic stuff as much.
The reason I loved it is because you guys were all graduated on the same time that I did. But when it came out, he was basically a junior in high school, which is I was a junior in high school.
Yeah.
So it's like I got to follow Superman the same age as I was, and I was a huge Superman fan. So to see a new version that's modernized to how Superman would be now was so cool to watch. And yeah, 10 seasons was too many, though. The show definitely should have ended earlier than that.
So is
They drug it out.
Superman your go-to DC guy?
Flash.
The Flash is?
Then Superman.
Nice.
Flash is badass. And I'm not a DC
This show
fan,
is
but he's
good.
awesome.
On your list.
Third.
Okay.
All right, and then we get one season of a show called Birds of Prey. I don't even know what that is. Do
I
you
don't
guys?
either.
That
Okay.
sounds like an old Hitchcock movie or something.
Yeah.
Is that a hunting show?
It sounds
Bunch
like
of
it.
old dudes out in
It sounds like
the
something
woods?
that would come up after Red Green Show or something like that.
I
That
think
show's
actually I
funny.
think it followed a couple of the side characters in DC, like the Huntress.
And in 2004, we get which is possibly the worst DC movie of all time, Catwoman with Halle Berry. I don't know if that's worse
Shut
or
your mouth.
if that or Batman and Robin is worse.
I like Holly Berry, and honestly, I liked Holly Berry better than I liked Anne Hathaway as Catwoman.
No,
Oh my
Shame.
no.
But then again, I'm also not a comic.
That's why we
person,
have you here,
so,
Shelby. You're the
yeah.
yin to our yang.
I liked the movie. I liked how theatrical it was and how crazy it was.
You know what? I just decided. You know, Sunset Overdrive is like the video game that knows it's a video game
Yeah.
and doesn't take itself too seriously. That is the Sunset Overdrive of superhero movies.
Catwoman.
It had to know that it was just not that good. That's what they made it.
2005, we get the redemption of DC with Batman Begins. Christopher Nolan rebuilding the Batman series.
So
and
good.
It was really freaking good.
Because it's Christopher Nolan.
I was impressed.
You were impressed?
I
Well,
was
good. I hope
impressed.
so.
Christopher
I
Nolan
didn't-
knows atrocious at choreographing fight scenes.
It's
Amazing
way too like
storyteller.
shaky cam and like cutting away and stuff like that.
That
That's
just
my only
doesn't
critique of
bother
him.
me that much as a guy that really could care less about fight scenes other than as plot points. You know, like
Yeah.
I just don't.
Sure.
Yeah.
I loved Batman Begins. I thought it was
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
so freaking good.
After Heath Ledger died, I was reluctant to watch any of the Batmans because it just makes me
Well,
sad.
there's only one more.
But, well, no, I mean, like, out of all, like, I hadn't seen any of them. And then after
Oh, I
Heath Ledger
gotcha.
died, everyone was like, he's the best Joker. He's the best Joker. You need to watch these movies. And I was like, I really don't want to because
Actually,
I'm going to be really sad.
I think Mark Hamill in the Arkham video games is the best Joker.
He's an amazing voice
I
actor.
haven't
Surprise.
Very
played
much
that
so.
game,
Um,
so...
Am I a terrible person for thinking that the only reason that Dark Knight is considered like one of the best movies ever?
Yes, you are. I know what you're going to say.
How is that terrible? It's not.
What?
I don't think
No,
it's a
I
terrible
don't
person.
think people would have thought Heath Ledger was that great of a Joker. I think he got propelled to higher
No,
levels
I
because
think
died.
he would have been
I
great
agree
no
with
matter
that.
what, but I don't think The Dark Knight would be considered like the best or second best superhero movie of all time if that didn't happen.
I'm on
It's
board
the
with you,
Nir-
man.
it's
I
the Nir-
agree.
it's the Nirvana argument.
Yeah.
They would not be
Nirvana
considered
sucks.
one of the
Yeah.
greatest band of
I
all
hate Nirvana.
time if he didn't shoot himself in the fucking face.
Or if
I'm
Courtney Love
sorry.
hadn't killed him. There is that conspiracy.
I know nothing about that.
I don't know much about it either, but I've heard that.
So then, in 2006, we get 2 Superman movies. We get Superman Returns and then Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut, which was a remake of Superman 2. They just recut
So,
it.
Superman Returns, what you have is
Terrible!
the dumbest thing ever. Where
That's
Superman,
the Bryan Singer movie, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Superman has a kid, and then there's Kevin Spacey in a boat. That's what I remember.
Yeah, I remember
And then
Kevin
there's
Spacey as Lex
Spacey in a
Luthor.
boat.
It was not a very good movie. The problem was they said instead of reimagining Superman, they said let's take the Christopher Reeve Superman and basically try to reinvent it
With a kid.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Shucks for Brandon Routh because that guy actually is a decent actor.
That sounds
I
It's
remember
awful.
him in Scott Pilgrim as he was
one
the
of
vegan.
The exes.
He was the
One of
vegan
the-
ex, yeah.
He
He really was.
Yeah, that was him.
I didn't
He
know.
plays the Atom, aka Ray Palmer, now in the Arrow series.
Really?
Yeah, he's going to
No,
do the
isn't
Atom
he?
now.
I thought he was in
Nice.
Flash. Is he in Flash? No, he's.
I like
they have
that show
crossovers,
crosses
but
over.
It is Arrow. He does have a reoccurring role as the.
That-
I can't watch Arrow.
That crossover episode between Arrow and the Flash was so fucking good.
I can't.
good.
I can't watch Arrow. I don't know why. I
love
tried
Arrow.
watching it. I watched 2 or 3 episodes. And I'm like, I can't watch it.
That's
I don't know
great
why.
because actually I like Arrow more than I like the Flash show.
That's
dead to me.
crazy.
You're dead to me. That's fun.
I do love the Arrow, and I do love the Flash. And the crossovers were amazing because they knew the Flash is lighthearted, makes jokes. The Arrow is super dark, gloomy. Everyone's so serious, and they literally made jokes about it in the show, calling each other out on that, and that was amazing.
Yeah. All right. In 2008, we get The Dark Knight, which a lot of people do think is the greatest superhero movie
It's
of all
not.
time.
It's
False.
probably my favorite. So, what would you guys say is your favorite superhero movie?
This
X-Men: Days of Future Past.
I'm with
Superman in the
Andrew.
Moment.
Superman in the Moment. Yeah.
What about the stamp one?
Stamp Day for Superman.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but my favorite is the Flashpoint Paradox. It's a DC animated movie. If you haven't seen it, it's
Yeah.
seriously
We said you were going to
mind-blowing.
jump into this, so give us a little rundown on this.
Well, basically, it's just that DC, Marvel's known for making the best movies. DC is known for making the best TV shows and the best animated movies, which is kind of like a hidden part of DC culture.
Yeah.
So they have several movies, like a whole, huge list of them they've made over the years. But to me, the best one is the Flashpoint Paradox, and not because I'm just a Flash fan, but because the fact that it shows like what would happen if Flash goes back in time and changes everything. So every character in this movie has a different story arc. Like, instead of Bruce Wayne's parents dying, Bruce Wayne dies, and his dad becomes the Batman, his mom becomes the Joker.
Whoa.
That sounds
It's
awesome.
amazing. It is, and it's for adults. So they cuss. There's brains getting blown away. Superheroes die.
Can we
left and
find
right.
this on YouTube or
Flashpoint
something?
Paradox is the
Flashpoint
best
Paradox.
superhero
On
movie
Netflix?
I've ever seen. No, but you can go to Family Video here in Republic and rent it. It's amazing.
Flashpoint.
They probably need the business. So.
Like, okay, so just a quick run, not to run it, but here I know, right? Here's the rundown, real quick. Flash goes back in time to save his mom. By doing that, he creates a ripple in time that changes everything just slightly, but enough to where the following things happen. So that thing happened with Batman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman have an affair, which they go to war, and the war spills out onto every day. Like, it spills out into Europe. It destroys Europe. Then, like, some of the other superheroes. They all, like, Superman never crashed in Kansas. Superman crashed, and the government recovered him and kept him held hostage in an underground bunker. So he's like a vegetable, basically. Superman never even happened. And then it's just crazy, and it's amazing.
Oh, I need to watch it.
Justice
sounds
League,
cool.
the Flashpoint Paradox.
Yes, that is my
That's an animated movie?
favorite movie I've ever seen. of
Came out
superheroes.
2013. It has an 8.0 out of 10 on IMDb. I will
How
have to
good
check
is
it
that?
out. It's pretty good. If you have an 8, that'll put you like in the
I think
top.
I think anything above 7.5 is good.
Yeah.
But there's
Well,
also
I just go none off the IMDb ratings because anybody can do it, and there's a really strong tendency for people to
10,
just
10,
like
10,
Netflix.
10, 10.
1, 10. Did you like the movie? Yes, 10. What did you think of this movie? I didn't like it that much. 0.
Yeah.
Like that. No one understands how to.
Yeah.
That's a pet peeve of mine.
In 2009, a lot of mixed feelings on this movie, Watchmen. I remember when I saw it, I did
saw
not
it.
like it.
Meh, not the best.
Yeah.
I loved it.
You
but
loved Watchmen?
That's one of my 3 favorite superhero movies. I would say.
why?
There's a pretty diverse cast, a completely different take on everything, which is basically everyone's a super flawed person, and not just in a generic way. Not just like, well, sometimes you have to make hard decisions. Like, they're shitty people.
Yeah.
They just happen to have ability.
The-
And I thought that was a really cool take on that. Also, it's got a really cool time and place feel to it. So, like, rather than necessarily setting everything in modern day, you get kind of the across the ages feel, which you would have, and, like, the weird fleeting feeling of them aging as things go along. I just thought it was a completely... I guess here's what I would say. It felt more like it suited me in that it was a superhero movie that, and I felt this way about The Dark Knight to some degree, made for people who necessarily aren't comic or superhero people, such as myself.
Yeah.
Would you care if I summarize why I would. Why you like it? It sounds to me like you like it because it shows the blue guy's penis.
Yes.
Remember that scene?
I didn't-
I remember I was
true.
like,
No,
oh,
the
that's jarring.
the movie to me was not memorable
Weird
at all, except for that
cybernetic penis.
scene
Penis.
where they're banging on the ship and that Hallelujah song's playing in the background.
Okay, yeah, I will say this. This is something
That's
I
a
did
cool
want to bring
scene.
up. Hands down, the worst soundtrack for any movie ever.
I really liked it. I thought it was great.
It was, yeah, they had the Hallelujah song, and at the funeral they were playing Miss Simon and Garfunkel's Scarborough Fair. Like,
Yeah,
it was
and
just
the
like
times
this
they
guy.
are changing in the intro.
Yeah,
I liked it. I thought it was a good.
I did not
soundtrack.
like that soundtrack at all. It's like just nothing fit. I didn't think anything
I think
fit.
that was totally the point.
Now, who directed? Was it Zack Snyder that directed?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yes.
typically hate him.
Well, so you didn't like 300?
I hated 300.
Really?
I like 300, the first
you-
300. Yeah,
Zack Snyder should have stuck to zombie movies. The Dawn of the Dead remake in 2002, I think, was
The one
to
with
this
Ty
day,
Burrell?
One of my
I was
and-
not
fucking
even aware he
hated
did
that
that.
movie.
Yeah, that's like one of my favorite zombie movies.
No,
to
that
this
was
day.
pretty
you know
good.
Ty Burrell from Modern Family. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't really like that.
Yeah,
movie.
he was awesome in that.
yeah.
He
He
was
was the
actually
sex scene guy on the.
Yeah, he was. He
that was a little odd
that
seeing
was
him now,
my
but
favorite role that he played. He was amazing, and
I don't know.
that-
I like
the
it more in
remake.
Modern Family. But
I didn't.
in 2010, we get Jonah Hex. That was the.
I really like that movie.
Holy shit! Are you serious?
I've
I
never
really
seen
like
it.
I've actually never seen it.
I really, really like
Is that Josh Brolin?
It was Josh
Yes.
Brolin and
Yes, it
what's
is.
her name?
Megan
Uh,
Fox
Megan
and
Fox.
John
I don't care
Malkovich.
for Megan Fox, but I do like Josh Brolin a lot. And I like that movie. I didn't even know that was a DC movie or a
I didn't
superhero
know what
movie
that
or anything.
was.
Yeah.
I
James
remember
James
some
had he wants to
commercial
weigh in
for it.
on this. I can tell he's like
Well,
chomping at the bits.
it's not so much about Jonah Hex. I watched the movie. I didn't even know it was DC. I feel like I'm a terrible DC fan. Had no idea. But Megan Fox is where I wanted to weigh in. Let's be real. She might be attractive, but she is like the worst actress
Hell,
ever.
easy.
Ever.
Easily.
She's so bad.
Yeah, I don't like
And
her.
I love
Yeah,
the new
she's
Teenage
not
Mutant Ninja
great.
Turtles for the record.
I didn't like
That's
it.
the only
I know
movie
you
I-
It
did.
was
I know you
okay.
did.
Oh man,
I didn't
loved it.
like how freakish superhuman they were. Because in the old series and stuff, they were more realistic. Like in the movie, they relied.
There's
more
nothing
on
realistic about it.
No,
you can just
no,
put that
but-
back in the bag.
They in the new movie, they relied more on their superhuman shit, like strength and size.
Did they still live in a sewer?
Yeah. But in the old series, they were like they actually had to strategize and use their ninja moves and stuff.
But it makes sense to be superheroes. You got to have some kind of a physical advantage.
Well,
And I
they're
feel like they
turtles.
gotta
That
be a
is
little bit stronger.
superhero-ish.
Did you see how big they are though? Like they're going
They
to
were-
I
naturally
didn't
be
like
stronger.
it. I didn't like
I
it.
didn't like how Tony Shalhoub was Splinter.
I
And
In
it
the
felt
new
like
movie?
awful cat. Yeah, that was Tony Shalhoub.
Oh,
That was
really?
Monk.
It was going to be Jackie Chan originally.
Really?
So be thankful that it'd be in him at least.
Why couldn't it have been like Ken Watanabe or something?
Because he's actually a good actor.
Because he
and I would-
has self-respect.
yeah.
Was Krang in that?
No, they didn't have Crane this time.
I bet he's in the
Krang
next
and
one.
Ratchet, or no, it was a. Who was the Rhino? It was
Bebop and Rocksteady.
Bebop and Rocksteady, man.
Yeah.
Come on. Have you ever played the Ninja Turtles Turtles in Time video game?
Or just
Probably
watch
the best
90s
thing ever.
cartoon.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, Bebop and Rocksteady, and there was
You're missing out.
yeah, I watched
show,
Teenage
nothing.
Mutant Ninja Turtles, Heroes in a Half
They have
Shell.
all of those
Turtle
on
Power.
They have all of those on YouTube. You can watch all of them.
In 2011, I know Shelby likes this movie, The Green Lantern, with
Shelby.
Ryan Reynolds.
I do love Ryan Reynolds. He's so pretty. But not only that, I just liked it. I don't know anything about comics. I don't know how close it was or how far away it was, but I just liked the movie. It got my attention.
I haven't seen it.
There's also the heartwarming love story in it, and that's always a good thing for me. So there you go.
I
Not to
remember
mention,
there
I
being-
love what's her Blake Lively. Is that her name? Blake.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blake Lively. I like her a lot.
There was a long time in that movie where I think Ryan Reynolds was hiding under a counter. I don't know. I watched it and I was half paying attention because I was.
I thought the CGI was really bad. Like whenever he switched to the Green Lantern, it just looked like bad, like PS2 graphic CGI.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. It's the same. I made the same argument with the new Lord of the Rings movie, or not Lord of the Rings, but the new Hobbit Battle
don't
of Five.
solely Lord of the Rings.
I thought that Battle of Five Armies CGI was just not up to par with what they'd shown in other movies. Like I thought it looked really bad. And then 2012, you get Dark Knight Rises with Tom Hardy as Bane.
The dark shall rise, Batman.
I liked.
Hello,
that.
Slendy.
Oh, okay, Bane plays Slender is one of the funniest videos I've ever seen on YouTube.
That is pretty funny.
Have
you seen the Bane cat one? Where it's just somebody's cat doing shitty stuff and they talking to Bane. It's pretty awesome.
That was really funny.
It seems I've pooped.
Apparently, you can shed some light on this, but Bane is actually really intelligent, and they did not portray that in like a Batman and Robin.
In the original comics, when Bane shows up, he is really intelligent, and then as his character progressed through different story arcs and different mediums, he became more and more, or he just became less intelligent. Yeah, so they dumbed down his character significantly.
Yeah,
from his original incarnation.
Dark Knight Rises, he's really intelligent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he came across that way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, there's a big parallel, I noticed anyway, between the Bane from The Dark Knight Rises and then the Bane from Batman and Robin. Two totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
And apparently Tom Hardy did a really good accent of a guy who was like, he trained in martial arts or something like that. And he, because I looked up why Tom Hardy his voice was really hard to understand. And it's because they actually had to go through and do some, like, voicing over to make it easier to hear.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't understand what he was saying at all, because the accent that he used was based off of somebody else in real life, and it was actually pretty spot on.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw it in theater. If I remember correctly, when they first put it in the theaters, nobody could understand it, and they had to re-release the movie with an edited version to where you could understand.
It was test screenings where people couldn't understand it.
Is that what it was?
The last hour of that movie is so good. Like, I remember thinking, okay, it's weird for in the third segment of a 3-part thing to be introducing new characters, like 2 big, long, new introductions.
Yeah.
And it felt kind of laborious, but then the ending of it is really good.
If you are a big fan of the movies, of the Christopher Nolan trilogy, I talked about the animated movies earlier. There actually was an animated movie that came out, and it's supposed to have taken place between Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises.
I read about that. Yeah,
it's called I think it's called Batman Gotham Knights, if I remember correctly.
Huh.
But these animated movies they all serve a purpose, and they have really high production value.
I'll have to check those out.
I watched the Justice League one you talked about earlier.
Oh yeah,
the Flashpoint movie. I want to watch that.
That looks really, really good. I want to see that. In 2013, we get the last DC movie that has been made up to this point, and that was Man of Steel, where
I actually liked it.
They destroyed the shit out of that city.
Oh, ruined it.
Yeah, like, I don't know how anybody could cheer for Superman after, like, you literally leveled a city. Like,
not to mention, like, what they did specifically to those 2 IHOPs.
Those 2 IHOPs
that his friend worked at.
That poor IHOP.
Yeah.
They said when they made the movie, I was watching some commentary about it, and they said that they intentionally used, like, IHOP and Sears and all these places because they wanted it to seem more realistic. They wanted it to be like, when people watch the movie, they're like, oh, it's not just some random made up place.
But I would have to think the other factor would be the money thing.
Well,
like
yeah.
So you're saying, like, we're saying it's Metropolis, it's a fake city, but there are real aspects to it.
Yeah, like they wanted to incorporate real businesses in the fight scenes so that you could feel like, oh my gosh, that could actually happen because I could be at IHOP eating and all of a sudden Superman comes flying through
That would
the
be
building.
awesome.
That would be pretty great.
Also, that should be the title of, like, the documentary made about Man of Steel later, like, Man of Steel, Metropolis has IHOP too.
TOO also. I thought you meant, like, the sequel to IHOP 2.
I liked the casting of that movie.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Okay, I will say this. Russell Crowe is Jor-El. Is it?
Yeah.
It's Jor-El, right?
Yeah.
Kal-El is Superman.
Correct.
And
Jor-El's
Jor-El
his dad.
was amazing. He was so
really
good.
Michael
Right.
Shannon was really good as Zod.
And Michael Shannon as Zod.
Michael Shannon's really fun in general. Like, he gets into that.
So here's the thing.
Have you
here's
seen
the
him
thing
as
I
the
thought-
Iceman?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I watched
that's
that
good.
actually. Yeah.
Here's the thing I thought about Zod in that movie in particular. He really wasn't a villain. He was just, everything he did was for his people. Nothing was sinister or evil. He just wanted to fulfill the promise to
In
keep
his
his
head.
people safe. Yeah.
Well,
That
he's basically
sounds like-
Adolf Hitler of
Right.
He's basically Adolf Hitler of Krypton. For the record, he really is.
Okay,
That's
I
the
want to
comparison
go.
they use.
I'm going to
That
pause you right
sounds
there.
like
I said
the
that
same
I
argument-
thought that Zod wasn't a bad guy, and then you said, yeah, he's like Hitler.
I
So
don't mean he's a good guy.
That-
I just mean like your comparison in my mind. I'm like, well, he's kind of like Adolf Hitler.
That
I don't know if
sounds
I'd
like
call
the
him good.
same reasoning that Ronan used in Guardians of the Galaxy. He just wants to protect his people.
no, he wanted to avenge his people. So it wasn't to save his people. And I thought Ronan was a pretty bad villain. It was just very generic in
Yeah, we
Guardians of the
talked about
Galaxy.
that on the
that was
year-end.
fine.
Yeah, but okay, so that's all the movies and all the TV shows besides the show called Human Target. I'm not really familiar with.
It ran for 2 seasons on Fox. Fox is the network where shows go to die.
Yeah. So there's 3. I guess there's 4 TV shows that are currently running right now. They're DC shows: the Arrow, Gotham, The Flash, and Constantine.
I don't
know-
think Constantine's going to get renewed.
There's a lot of talk. It's not. It's really
Really?
upsetting people.
Yeah, it's not that good. I didn't like it.
I want to know why
I didn't like
Constantine, the movie, wasn't listed on our list here.
You know, I thought that was really interesting that they didn't list that either. I thought about
That
when I
movie was
looking at
okay
it.
too.
I actually
I liked it.
really liked Keanu Reeves and Constantine. I thought that was an amazing movie. I
Keanu
watched-
Reeves
Shia LaBeouf
is
was
genuinely
the
a
cab
likable
driver.
guy.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf was in it. He got killed.
It was a great movie. but
Spoiler alert.
It is funny because in the comics he is a blonde-haired dude from England has an accent, and then Keanu Reeves plays him in the
Yeah.
movie, completely opposite of what his character.
Hey,
is.
it could have been Nicolas Cage, so we're lucky that we
That's
got
true.
saved from that.
No, we're not.
No. I want Nicolas Cage to go back and play every single character in every movie ever.
Have you seen this? That he's going to be in this movie, like this Osama bin Laden.
Oh, where he works for the CIA. I think we talked about that on Trailer
It's
Talk.
the different.
The
one.
movie
It's
is that
gonna
the movie where he's going crazy?
No, there's a movie where the guy that directed Borat is making like a comedy kind of thing about that whole time frame, and Nicolas Cage is going to be in it and allowed to ad lib lines.
That sounds terrible.
Wow.
So
I
all
need
I'm
to see
saying
it, like,
is that's
tomorrow.
probably an opening night thing to
What's
do.
in the bag?
Have you guys
Is it a
seen
shark?
Shark or something?
Have you guys seen the vampire picture of Nicolas Cage where he
Yes.
was like from like
From like the old 1800s.
yeah, and they're like he's a vampire.
That's pretty
He
great.
probably is.
He does yell, "I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire! I'm a vampire!" repeatedly in Con Air. So
He does.
the
Really.
greatest movie of all time.
He was.
That movie's not terrible, but it's not great.
I like how you have to defend Con Air. All right, so Arrow, Gotham, The Flash, and Constantine. Let's talk about the CW shows, The Flash and Arrow, because they're on the same network. They're able to
And they're the
have
best
crossovers.
ones. They're the best ones.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I know James definitely does not agree, but I like Arrow more than I like Flash. I love The Flash, though. It's
I don't
great.
like Arrow.
I just like Arrow because it seems more "quote unquote" realistic the way that the show is portrayed. Not in the first season anyway. Everything was human v human, whereas in this second season and the crossover episodes,
Didn't he
you
just
get,
do a Ra's al Ghul episode?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have they're called metahumans, right, in the show.
The
So-
Flash.
Well, the Flash calls them metahumans, but they are using that terminology now in the Arrow as well.
Okay, but I like the Arrow. Is it Stephen Amell who plays
Stephen Arnell.
Arnell? Okay, who plays the Flash? That guy's or Arrow. Sorry, man, I'm just getting totally tongue tied here. He's amazing. I think he does a great job playing the Arrow.
I don't like the Arrow, but the actor's cool.
We have nothing to offer to this conversation. We're just Shelby and I are just hanging out.
Yeah.
Listening. I was just contemplating trying to make some bold point, like make an argument. You know, be like, well, actually, I think having not seen any of it, just to see if anything I said made sense.
I like the actors themselves, but I don't really like the show.
In the Flash, they did something that I really like. In every single secret identity show out there, they go like 3 or 4 seasons without anybody figuring out who he is. In the first episode of The Flash, his adopted father figures out who he is. I'm like,
I like
oh, so
that
there's
guy.
2 guys and he does a great job. The guy who plays his
Yeah.
stepdad or his adopted dad, I don't know what you call him. He's amazing. He's a great actor. I love his character too.
Yeah, I definitely think that the Flash does so many things well, and people love it, critics love it, and I think it's like a step in the right direction to start bringing more superheroes to the TV and actually making them viable and watchable.
I wish that they would just bring the blonde scientist over from Arrow because she's so smoking
Felicity
hot.
Smoke.
She can just
Felicity.
be on the show all the time. I'd be fine with that.
All right, so just real quick, we're just going to run down all the movies that are in production and announced, and then we'll get to the fun quiz that you three are going to play. So here's the movies that are in production. We have Batman v Superman: The Dawn of Justice / Dawn of Justice League. I don't know what title they're going to go with. Then Suicide Squad, which Tom Hardy is not going to be in now.
Yeah, neither is Gyllenhaal.
Are you sure about Gyllenhaal? Because he's still listed.
They said he's passed on it.
Okay.
Tom Hardy's
That came
so
from
pretty.
comingsoon.net, and they're usually pretty solid. On
Yeah, I
those.
read that too.
All right. I like Suicide Squad as an amazing storyline. I think it's a really cool concept.
If you want a preview of Suicide Squad, one of the animated movies, the DC animated movies I was talking about, is Batman Arkham Asylum. It's like the game, but it features the Suicide Squad the entire time, and he's
That's
one of the
cool.
characters.
For those of people who are listening that don't really know what Suicide Squad is, do you mind just explaining it real quick?
Yeah, basically they're like these villains who get captured, and then the government, led by this fringe group, her name's Amanda Waller, she basically takes them out of prison, puts a bomb in them, and says, "You will be superheroes, and if you don't do these missions for us, we will kill you." And then she will kill them if they step out of line. So they are villains forced to be heroes, but they still act as villains, so they'll kill people. They do anything to get a mission done, basically.
Nice. It's a really cool concept. And I'm like, wow, the good guys are the bad guys, and you have to root
Yes.
for the villains, quote unquote.
Batman has to work with them,
Yeah.
and these are people he put away.
And I really want to see that movie when it comes out because the cast list they have for it right now.
Actually, that sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah. And then you have Wonder Woman's going to be coming out in 2017 along with Justice League Part 1. In 2018, you have The Flash, Aquaman, and Shazam. I don't know if it's going to be the same guy who plays The Flash in the show.
It's not.
It's a different guy.
It's
That's a
not
shame.
because
Yeah.
Stephen Arnell came out and just totally lashed out at WB and DC Comics for not casting the guy that plays Barry Allen on the show.
It's not, the guy they casted doesn't even look at any version of Flash in any comic. He's
Really?
like black hair, long. He looks like a hipster. He does not look at all like you would see the Flash in his portrayals in the comics.
Well,
or
I
TV.
think in the Suicide Squad they got Will Smith to play Deadshot, and that's
Yes.
totally weird casting, I think. And then 2019 we'll have Shazam, the Justice League Part 2, and 220 we'll have Cyborg, and then they're rebooting Green Lantern.
So it won't be a continuation, it's just a reboot.
No, because Ryan Reynolds is leaving DC. He's going to go work for Marvel to play Deadpool.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which will be awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's your list from 1951 to 2020 on movies and television shows that have been featured in DC.
/ governmental propaganda.
/ governmental propaganda about stamps. All right. So, James says he has a list of questions to see how you guys do on your DC knowledge. So let's see what
Now-
fun
Oh,
questions.
Jesus.
Now, some of these questions that I came up with, we've kind of already touched on, so I might have to adapt as we go. But we're going to see how well Shelby paid attention.
Yeah.
Because she knows nothing.
No
So we'll
smart
see.
devices.
So it's like Jon Snow. She knows nothing.
Exactly.
She knows nothing. All right.
Take your phones, put them
So-
in your pocket, put them under the table, put them where the sun don't shine.
I intend to use only my own previously acquired knowledge.
Before we start,
Or
I do
guesses.
have a question. In a fight between Tom Hardy and Jason Statham, who do you think would win?
Tom Hardy.
Chev Chelios.
Chev Chelios for sure. That man
He
had
fights dirty. Tom
that
Hardy's
man-
too classy.
that man had to shoot somebody in the face while having sex with a woman in public. So I have respect for that.
Nicolas Cage had to do that in Drive Angry 3D.
Oh my god.
Although
I
Tom,
heard about that. I really want to see that
Yeah,
just
I
for
saw
that scene.
movie.
did you see Tom Hardy's movie Bronson?
Yes, that was insane.
Yeah,
Didn't even like the movie, but it was he was fascinating.
I
yeah.
had a dog named
Based on a true
Bronson.
guy. Didn't know if you knew
Yeah.
that. All right, to the quiz.
All right, we're going to start off with some names of different Marvel and DC characters, and let's see if you can differentiate between the two universes.
Okay.
So I will say a character's name, and then you just say which universe they're from. Some will be easy, and some might be a little more difficult, but I made them pretty easy just to be safe. Superman.
DC.
DC.
I don't know. I'm just kidding.
All right, so some easy ones to get off here. Wolverine.
Marvel.
Yeah.
All right, Deadpool.
Killing it. Yeah.
All right, this was just for Shelby because we actually said this, and I want to see if she was listening. Deadpool.
Marvel.
Nailed it.
It was,
I had
you
to
weren't
think
for
about
sure.
the
It was just a
X-Men.
guess.
Very
No, it wasn't a
self-assuredly
guess. I was
nailed it.
thinking
Yeah.
about the movie that I saw him in, which Ryan Reynolds plays him in the X-Men movies, and I know X-Men is Marvel, so there's the connections.
Good call.
Good. All right, Green Arrow.
DC.
Green Lantern.
DC.
War Machine.
Oh,
Marvel. He's Marvel.
Marvel. Marvel.
He's Iron Man.
Iron Man and War Machine.
He's gonna be in the new
sorry, I
Avengers
keep
movie.
picking those.
All right, so let's do this
Probably.
where it'll go Shelby, Brian, Zach. So you each say each. So.
Okay.
All right, Dark Side.
DC.
Pretty sure it's DC.
And the verdict?
DC.
Hey!
Beat you, Brian.
Can you tell me who he is?
No.
No.
Let's just put it this way. When comparing to the next character, Apocalypse.
Oh wow. Okay, that's cool. Apocalypse.
Marvel?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
I don't know.
DC's
Marvel.
version of Apocalypse.
I don't know
Apocalypse
who
is
so
awesome.
that comparison
He's the
means
in
nothing.
X-Men. He's considered the first mutant. He was born like back in the ancient Egypt times. They thought he was a god and shit.
He solely built the pyramids.
According to
Well,
Is that real?
yeah, according to
Yeah.
X-Men. Yeah.
I was just being an asshole.
No, you're totally legit.
I
No,
did not
actually,
know.
at the end of X-Men: Days of Future Past, you know how Marvel
I
always
haven't
has
watched
a
it yet. but
okay. At
yeah.
at the end of every single Marvel movie, they
I
have
need to do
clips.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
There was a clip of for the next Age of Apocalypse of him building the pyramids. and
Speaking of which, Sansa Stark's gonna play Jean Grey in
I
saw that.
the new
stuff. yeah.
X-Men movie. That's
That's
exciting.
cool.
And you got
Sophie Turner.
retweeted. You got retweeted by Daenerys Targaryen for that.
Damn right.
Yeah.
You got retweeted?
Yeah,
yeah.
of course
Oh,
I
that's
did.
next level awesome.
I have great Twitter experience.
Yep.
All right, Wally West is the secret identity of one incarnation of which DC superhero?
This will be hilarious. Okay, Shelby, you got this question.
What was the name?
Wally West is the
Wally
alter
West.
ego to which famous DC superhero?
I'm gonna guess Robin or Nightwing, but I don't know.
Can you give him like an ABCD sort of? Just
Yeah,
like,
because I.
No,
okay,
I think
no,
it's
no.
fun. It's way funnier this way. We can say literally anything.
okay.
Okay. well,
The human target thing. I'm going with that.
Human target.
Is that even the name of the person?
No, it's not.
Damn
but
it!
That's funny.
I really. Brian, shut up. I want an A through D.
All right, A. Nightwing.
Hey, I was right.
B. Green Lantern. C. Flash. Or D. Superboy.
I'm going to recant my previous answer.
I'll go with A. I'll agree with.
I will also go with A.
The answer is the Flash.
Yeah, but
Damn it!
Really?
you watched the show.
That's why. I
Wally
was
West.
No, Barry Allen is
Barry
the Flash in the show, which a lot
Yeah.
of Wally West. Wally West is actually he plays a lot of different. When Barry Allen died
Wally.
in Crisis of Infinite Earths, Wally West took over as the Flash, and he's the second most popular version of Flash. He's in several different incarnations throughout comics.
Barry Allen's better.
Damn it.
All right, who killed Superman?
Doomsday.
Okay, Doomsday. He seems pretty confident.
He's right. We were talking about it
Okay.
earlier, though. To be fair,
Well,
I was gonna say
I
something
played the
stupid.
Death and Return of Superman video game. I remember it from that.
Honestly, I was gonna say.
And Doomsday was hard as tits to kill.
all right. Here's a tough one. Oa is the name of a planet for which DC hero's source of power.
Green Lantern, I think.
Swamp Thing.
Ryan, that's awesome.
The Flash.
Yeah, it was the Green Lantern.
Damn it!
All right,
We
here's
can't have Zach lead off. Also,
Yeah,
by
Zach,
the
you
way,
can't lead
Zach
off.
bullshitted his way into this competition.
No, I
I
really
don't know
don't.
anything about any of
I
this.
really don't know, but that just seems like the most Green Lantern answer that I could have given. So
I watched Green Lantern and I liked the movie, but I couldn't remember the planet.
so
it came
so the
from.
Justice League is like the top. You know, right now in the DC world, Justice League is it's trending for the movies coming out. So tell me, what are 5 of the 7 primary
Ooh, I think
Justice
I
League
can do
founding
this.
members?
I can
Just
tell
5
you
of
that.
7. Okay, let's go.
Wonder Woman, Superman,
Batman,
Batman,
Aquaman,
Aquaman.
and is the Flash part? I think the Flash is part of
Is
Justice League.
Is it the or
I think-
is the
think
Green
so.
Lantern?
Green Lantern's part of Justice League too.
Well, there's 5. So we got 2 more left.
Who are the other 2?
Oh, so Green. Wait.
You said Green Lantern
Swamp
was,
Thing.
so I'm gonna go with
Okay,
that.
Green Lantern and And
I said the Flash, but it sounds
is.
like he's not
Flash is
in
one.
it.
He's
Okay.
six.
okay,
But you weren't sure. You were
And-
like, but you were like confident Green Lantern.
Ant-Man.
Who's the seventh?
Ant-Man's
Yes!
Marvel.
Ant-Man's Marvel.
Damn it!
I love this.
The Ant-Man version is the Atom in DC, just so you know, kind of
Yeah.
the equivalency.
Yeah.
The last
Atom.
one, the last one is
ATO.
Cyborg.
Oh, he's a good guy? I thought he was a bad
I
guy.
didn't even know.
Now you're
Cyborg
thinking of
was
the
a person.
Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
No,
yeah,
I'm
it is.
thinking of Cyborg Superman, who was a bad guy.
All right.
I
You
got
guys
one
want to
for
know
you.
what's funny? Is Red Kryptonite. It's hilarious.
Here.
Where Superman just becomes irresponsible.
Here's one for
That's
you.
a-
I'm gonna
That's amazing.
I'm gonna throw James in this one. See if he can get it.
Oh.
Roy Harper, aka Arsenal, is the sidekick to which DC hero?
Green
Hal
Arrow.
Jordan. Okay, yeah, Green Arrow. Okay, so yeah, you knew that
Whoa.
one like immediately.
Before he was Arsenal, he was known as the Red Arrow and also known as Speedy. That was
Hey,
his
is that
name
Jack
before
Barrowman on the
Arsenal.
show?
He's a dude that was in Teen Wolf, the MTV Teen Wolf.
Oh,
I'm not sure
no.
what his name is.
Jack Barrowman's awesome.
Nice. All right. Well, is that going to wrap it up for DC? Anybody else have anything they want to add? Is there
My
any
stomach
anime that
hurts.
you want, or not anime, but animated series that you wanted to talk about before we wrapped up?
No, I mean there were a lot of great DC animated series, but you know, if you want the best, Young Justice.
Young Justice.
Young Justice season 2 was really what is amazing. It's only 2 seasons long, but it was the best DC animated television show in my opinion.
Nice. All right. Well, that will wrap it up. Thank you, everybody, for listening to episode 38 of the See It podcast. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, you can find us at @C_it_podcast. You can find us on YouTube at /See It podcast. Thank you to Podomatic, who is the content giver that gives it out to all the different podcast formats and systems like iTunes and Android and all those other great programs. Brian, plug away at your baseball podcast.
Okay. It's called The Backup Catcher. You can find it on our website, stangraphs.com. You can also search The Backup Catcher on pretty much any content provider for podcasts, including iTunes, or just like us on the Facebook.
All right. Well, thank you, Zach. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Shelby. And Mr. James Ackerman, I hope you had fun on your inaugural podcast.
It was a blast. I appreciate you having me.
No problem. To everybody listening, we will catch you next time. Peace out.
Swamp Thing!
Bye.
Swamp Thing.